In Kenya, the main economic activities are agriculture, tourism and trade. Producers and all stakeholders in these sectors agree that efficiency must be high for the country to achieve greater productivity. There are great opportunities in all these sectors for all producers, be they large or small. To ensure that personnel are efficient, many organizations have invested in resources and effort in training their staff on better and more effective ways of working. The large organizations have greater resources at their disposal to accomplish this. The small-scale producers, who are the majority, usually are challenged as a consequence of little resources at their disposal. Thankfully, Africa Now, an international development organization tackling poverty in Africa by helping small-scale producers and promoting ethical trade, has come in strongly to support these producers.
Africa Now is more involved in training the farmers on the kind of projects they actually need as a community, assisting them on getting to know or identifying their needs, because there's so many problems. And so in most cases what we realized is most farmers or workers try to solve the symptoms of their problems rather than dealing with the source of their problem.
Africa Now has initiated and carried out numerous seminars and workshops in Kenya to empower the small-scale producers in many sectors of the economy. It has been a major player in driving the Fair Trade and Rainforest Alliance principles.
When a factory, for example, implements the standard, there are improvements that are made on the workers' welfare, for example, workers' housing, workers' rights, minimum wage and the like, so as to qualify as they implement for the standard. When they're using their agrochemicals, they use them in a better way. They use personal protective equipment. Then the environment is also improved because the rivers are protected. Farmers are able to remove water-guzzling trees like eucalyptus from their streams and rivers. Hence, we see better flow of water and conservation of the water resources. We also see farmers improving on their integrated crop management, because through the standard Rainforest Alliance standard, we ask farmers not to use banned agrochemicals, not to use class 1 and class 2 agrochemicals to try and avoid them, and focus more on integrated pest management when they are doing their agricultural production. Hence, less cost on their production, and therefore better income even for the farmer.
The manufacturing industry has benefited from capacity building trainings facilitated by Africa Now.
We were actually trained as auditors. So one of the things that we did is we were able to adopt the practice that they have on auditing and how they do it. And we can actually see it's much more effective compared to how we were doing previously.
19 senior staff of the Export Processing Zone Authority were trained on current labor laws, occupational health and safety, as well as work injury benefits.
I used to get a lot of problems before I attended this training. And the problems used to come up with maybe the union, the interpretation of the law, and there's some areas you even go to the court when you're representing the company to give evidence about an issue in courts. So you'll find you're put in the corner with a lawyer who happens to know the law better than you. So when Africa Now came in, then the values we gain courage because you know what you're talking about. If you get an issue like the Work Injury Benefits Act, it gives a lot of, but when an employee gets injured in the workplace, what should you do? When there's an issue that ends up in court, then you can quote the real area. Then when you do that before a lawyer, of course, our background as HRs, we are not lawyers as such. We only give witness statements. But when a lawyer realizes you have an idea, then the approach becomes different.
The overall training objective was to develop and improve capacity in industrial relationship in the export processing zone enterprises in Kenya.
When I'm auditing, I'm dealing with basically human resource managers of the various enterprises. And I think they've improved quite a bit. At least the ones who attended the trainings have improved quite a bit in the way they handle their issues. But maybe the training could be extended to top management, because that is where problems will come up. If a human resource manager will tell the owner of the company, this should be done this way because the law says this, and the owner of the company, doesn't see why he should do that. I think if they were also trained directly, I think it would help a lot.
Gitugi Tea Factory in Murang'a County has had its staff trained by Africa Now, especially in the area of occupational health and safety. Lack of compliance in this area has seen many workers in many other factories get injured at the workplace, and some get maimed for life.
I had a small cut, but I used Fullerton when I was planting my tomatoes. When I was doing it, I realized a sharp pain somewhere. That is, realized that there's something has gone on. I went to the hospital. I was operated slightly, but still now there's a hole which is still left there. So I can advise for other farmers that it is good to use gloves and other protective clothing while they are in their farms.
Nilikuwa mkulima sana wa kahawa. It was back in 1979. Sasa nilikuwa natumia ile dawa naitwa Capta 4. Na kwa bahati mbaya siku moja ili nigeuka ikaingia kwa macho yangu. Manake sikuwa na kitu ya kunizuia macho. Sasa kutoka hapo macho yangu yakaharibika. Na ndio hiyo sasa. Jicho moja yangu iliharibika.
In other factories across the country, some workers have even lost their lives. Africa Now has strived to ensure adherence to the international standards. The Rainforest Alliance is a non-governmental organization with the published aims of working to conserve biodiversity and ensure sustainable livelihoods by transforming land use practices, business practices, and consumer behavior. The Rainforest Alliance uses the power of markets to arrest the major drivers of deforestation and environmental destruction, timber extraction, agricultural expansion, cattle ranching, and tourism. The Rainforest Alliance offers the following certification, verification, and validation services: sustainable agriculture, sustainable forestry, sustainable tourism, mitigation climate change, environmental education, and connecting conservationists. Once an institution is certified, Africa Now ensures continued monitoring for continuous compliance with fair trade and Rainforest Alliance standards. Compliance has had tangible benefits, namely higher price of produce and higher premiums, initiation of social projects which have benefited the primary target groups, general community members, and any other person who comes in touch with the projects, conducive and stable working environment for low-income workers, their recognition, representation, and participation in decision-making, and winning, retaining, and building up the confidence of investors dealing in international certified produce from the targeted farmers. With this kind of support from Africa Now, Kenya will continue to reap immense benefits from its enhanced capacity to produce, even as the producer, his family, and the entire community enjoy the benefits of fair trade and Rainforest Alliance principles.